Welcome back. Yep, I'm wearing Habs. I know. See, I do feel like this is similar to 2010. This feels very similar to 2010. Going into the playoffs, the Washington Capitals the number 1 seed, Montreal the number 8 seed. Now, the reason the Montreal won back in 2010 was Jarro Halak. Jarro Halak stole games in that series, absolutely befuddled the Washington Capitals into the ground. This time out, I feel like Montreal's been playing better. I feel like Montreal's been a better team. So Montreal's 40, 31, and 11 overall. The Capitals 51, 22, and 9. And they sputtered down the stretch. Now, you may believe that they can just turn that on again. But they were 15, 11, and 1, a 574 points percentage after 4 nations. Montreal 15, 5, and 6, a 692 points percentage, and that's why they're in the playoffs. Now, there is a question to be asked as well. And it would be wrong of me not to ask this. Montreal's been working so hard to get here, and they looked like they might be running on fumes before that win in Game 82. So will they have enough energy to take out a Capitals team? Can the Capitals regroup? And so we'll go through this. Now, the regular season doesn't really tell us much. October 31st, so Halloween, that's how far back we go for this one. 6-3 win for the Capitals. December 7th, a 4-2 win for the Capitals. January 10th, so over 3 months ago, the last time these teams met, it was a 3-2 overtime win for Montreal. And Montreal has been very hot and cold throughout this season. And when they're cold, they look awful. And when they're hot, they look fantastic. So looking at their leading scorer, Nick Suzuki, I think Suzuki's proven himself to be a star player in the NHL. 82 games, 30 goals, 59 assists, 89 points. Since 4 Nations, he's been ridiculous. 26 games, 15 goals, 22 assists, 37 points. Almost making an argument for the Olympics is Nick Suzuki. Cole Caulfield is making that argument for himself too. 82 games, 37 goals, 33 assists, 70 points overall. Since 4 Nations, 26 games, 11 goals, 10 assists, 21 points. And Lane Hutson is the guy that the Washington Capitals are going to be trying to stop. Lane Hutson really drives a lot of the offense. 82 games, 6 goals, 60 assists for 66 points. I believe the 60 assists tied Larry Murphy, I think, for the all-time record for a defenseman in his rookie year. And yet there's still those who will go, I don't know if he should get the Calder. Of course he's going to get the Calder. Slafkovsky, 79 games, 18 goals, 33 assists, 55 points, or 51 points overall. He had a stronger second half than first half, much like last season. And after 4 Nations, 26 games, 10 goals, 11 assists, 21 points. Shutting down that first line is the Capitals' first job here. And we'll see if they're able to do it and if they're able to keep Hudson off the score sheet. Montembeault has been excellent. Record of 31, 24, and 7, 902 save percentage overall. However, since 4 Nations, 13, 3, and 4 with a 912 save percentage. So Sam Montembeault, amongst everything else this season, has been steady. The backup position went from Primo to Dobesh, and now Primo's playing well in the AHL, and I've seen people saying maybe you call up Primo. The reality is, Montembeault, it's his net. It's his net. The only way that Dobesh sees time is if they're getting blown out and he comes in relief, or if something awful happens, right? So there's almost no chance Dobesh gets into this series. On the Washington side, Strome leads the way, 82 games, 29 goals, 53 assists, 82 points. So close to 30 goals. Since 4 Nations, excellent numbers, 27 games, 13 goals, 15 assists, 28 points. Consistency that Mark Scheifele would be proud of. Ovechkin, 65 games, 44 goals, 29 assists, 73 points. Since 4 Nations, 26 games, 18 goals, 12 assists, 30 points. He is playing against guys who weren't born when he started playing in the NHL. I don't know that I'm even kidding. I mean, the passage of time. Anyways, passage of time doesn't bother Ovechkin at all. If he played a full 80-game schedule, he would have ended up with a 50-goal season. He just doesn't age. He's decided aging is not interesting to him. And he will score for as long as he's in the league. This is why when people say, well, maybe someday somebody can catch him, they have to be able to play this well into their late 30s. That does not generally happen. P.L. Dubois greatly enjoyed the change of scenery to Washington. 82 games, 20 goals, 46 assists, 66 points. Since 4 Nations, the scoring's actually been better. 27 games, 7 goals, 15 assists, 22 points. Dubois has been a really good steadying presence in Washington, and I think it helped Dubois being in Washington that he's more of a secondary, and he's not really being counted on to be a primary scorer, and I think that helps him. Protas, the health of Protas is key. And one of the reasons I'm wearing a Montreal jersey is they haven't had Protas. Without Protas, you can really tell the difference. They've been in a bit of a slide lately, and they've just, I don't know, something's lost with them. Protas, 76 games, 30 goals, 36 assists, 66 points. Since Four Nations, 21 games played, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points. If Protas was in the lineup, if Logan Thompson was starting, I'd probably be wearing a Caps jersey. Very likely would be. So, let's get into the goaltending. Charlie Lindgren, a record of 20, 14, and 3 overall, 896 save percentage. Since Four Nations, 8 and 5, 887 save percentage. The goaltending was bailing them out at certain parts of this season when they weren't necessarily getting goal scoring, they weren't necessarily playing great, and Logan Thompson was leading the way. Now his overall numbers, 31, 6, and 6, 910 save percentage. That win-loss record is filthy. But since Four Nations, it's 7, 4, and 1 with an 880 save percentage. They're not going to get anywhere if their save percentage is below 900. Lindgren being against his former team may motivate him. Charlie Lindgren might look over at the Montreal Canadiens and say, hey, you guys didn't have faith in me. This organization did. So maybe we see a great game one out of Lindgren, and maybe my jersey choice becomes the choice of the team that loses in the first round relatively quickly. Keeping in mind the Caps got swept last year in the first round, they should be much more prepared this year than last year. Now we look at team stats. No surprise that it favors the Capitals overall. Scoring 3.49 goals per game for the Caps, 2.96 goals per game for Montreal, goals against 2.79 goals against per game for the Capitals, 3.18 goals against per game for Montreal. Special teams favors the Capitals. 23.5% on the power play versus 20.1% on the power play for Montreal. Penalty kill, 82% for Washington, 80.9% for Montreal. So not bad. Honestly, Montreal, their special teams aren't bad. Just they don't hold up as well as Washington's, right? Leading after the first or after the second. Montreal doesn't lead after the first that often. Only 13, 3, and 1. So they're going to want to be leading after one, because when the Capitals are leading after one, they're 23, 5, and 2. Leading after two, Montreal's got a good record, 23, 2, and 1 there, whereas the Capitals, 31, 1, and 1. So do not be down against the Capitals, or you be losing. I guess I could have phrased that different, but I'll keep it that way. Well, I'm not going to do another take. Hits per 60 minutes favors Montreal, 23.93 hits per 60 minutes, whereas the Capitals 19.05. Not a big hitting team, but they can. They definitely have the players that can, including Ovechkin himself, and of course that big Wilson guy. He can throw some hits. Blocks per 60 minutes favors Montreal, 17.15 blocks per 60, as opposed to Washington's 16.16 hits per 60 minutes. So the overall numbers, when you're looking at it, favors Washington, but that's going to include, all of those games before Four Nations. We'll said Five Nations. I don't know who we're putting in there. But yeah, before Four Nations, honestly, the Capitals were head and shoulders above everybody else. And I would joke about whether or not the Capitals could get knocked out in the first round, but they have not been playing as well lately. So looking at playoff histories, and Montreal does not have a lot to talk about with playoff history. The Caps do. So they won the Cup in 2018. Farthest back that I go is 2019, but I just mentioned the 2018 Cup. And in 2019, the Capitals lost in the first round against Carolina. 2020, the Capitals lose in the first round against the Islanders. The Habs lost in the first round against Philadelphia after Montreal knocked out Pittsburgh in that qualifying round. 2021, the Capitals lose in the first round against Boston. Montreal gets all the way to the final that year out of the Northern Division. And I remember all the discussions about whether or not it was warranted to have a Northern Division. And then when Montreal faced Vegas, Montreal was going to get destroyed. And they didn't. And then they got to the final where they lost against Tampa. 2022, the Capitals lose in the first round against Florida. 2023, by my count, neither team made the playoffs. 2024, the Capitals lost in the first round against the Rangers. One thing that is definitely going to be weighing on the Capitals a bit here is they haven't got out of the first round since that Stanley Cup victory in 2018. So the Montreal Canadiens have a more recent Stanley Cup appearance. They have a more recent series victory than the Caps. So is this really that lopsided? A little bit. This is a very different team than the one that Montreal sent to the Stanley Cup final in 2021. So the schedule on Monday, this starts in Washington at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Wednesday, same time. Then it switches to Montreal for Friday and Sunday. How is Montreal not playing at home on Saturday on Hockey Day in Canada? I just don't get it. But Friday, 7 o'clock Eastern, Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. Game 5 would be Wednesday, April 30th in Washington, so there's an extra day off there. Friday, May the 2nd, Game 6 would be in Montreal. And Sunday, May the 4th, Game 7 would be in Washington. So, yeah, May the 4th, it's that Star Wars holiday. Mentioned that in another preview as well. And so we'll see if we get that far. I think this series is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, Montreal might get run over. Yeah, I might be wearing the wrong jersey here. But I figure, I've got to at least wear a couple of underdogs. And I feel like I've done that in these previews. So this is the 8th one I'm recording. I don't think this is going to be the 8th one to go live on the channel. I'm actually recording them all on the Friday. I just don't want to clutter up the channel with all of these previews at the same time. So I'm spreading them out a little bit. And considering that some of these series don't start till Monday or Tuesday, why not? So there you go. Let me know your thoughts, including your pick and all that fun stuff in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.